Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I'm Sasha and this is my little art space on YouTube. So I'm gonna try and film this in one shot with no editing, which I've never really done before, so hopefully it goes well. I wanted to share with you my new Etchr Sketchbook, and I just wrote "Express Yourself" on it as a kind of reminder to myself to let loose, be expressive, and not worry too much about the outcome. And something I noticed about these covers is they're meant to be painted on, right? But they get like dirtier and dirtier the longer that you have them. And so I may end up painting over this if it gets like dust and stuff on it. But yeah, so anyway, I'll show you the first spread I made. And so I'm working in abstracts right now. And this is the first spread, and this was inspired by Louise Fletcher. I watched her recent YouTube video where she was doing a bunch of sketchbooking and doing abstracts, and I was really inspired, so I whipped out one of my new sketchbooks and decided to go for it. On this one, I used real charcoal, and not that there's, I suppose, a fake charcoal, but I used charcoal, and it's really like spreads around really easily, and I'm not going to fix any of the pages with fixatives, so I guess it is what it is. I'm just going to use these wax paper sheets. So anyway, I really enjoy the color scheme going on here. It's mostly a warm palette, and I love the bit of cool in the turquoise, and I just really think this one really works well together. Here's the one I finished, I think yesterday, and this one was really chaotic. The background that you can see here was all over the whole page, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just expressive, and I knew I was going to calm it down later to try to turn it into a finished piece, and I wanted to see if that was possible. And I've seen artists do this technique where they block out sections of usually a chaotic kind of a painting, and they'll block out sections of it with one solid color, and then the painting ends up looking pretty good, like really cohesive, and it has its calm areas and its busy areas, and the negative space is really important. And I think this one turned out pretty good. And I also carved into, like, before I added the blue paint, I had done a layer of this pink paint, and I had it going all around, and it really did not look good, trust me. Like, it kind of looked messy because it picked up some of the Stabilo All pencil here, the black pencil, and it picked some of it up and it was blending with it, and it just wasn't looking great. And I felt that it didn't calm the painting down. The painting still looked busy with the kind of dirty paint color. And so I decided to go over it with this blue. I took a risk because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. And I love how it turned out. I think the blue really calmed it down. It kind of goes with the turquoise green color here. Kind of looks nice together. And I did some dry brushing over the pink areas that were here that I carved into with one of these, a skewer. And so I did a bit of dry brushing, and I really love the effect. And so, yeah, that's that. Anything else I wanted to say? I think that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Anyway, I have a new spread right here. I used the leftover blue paint on it, and I think we're gonna do something with this today. I don't think I'm gonna finish whatever we make in this video because I'd have to wait for stuff to dry, and I want to do this video in one shot. And so I guess I don't need to have that one on the other side because it's down flat. So let's start this off. So we already have a bit of a background color. I have no idea what I'm going to do other than I'm going to do some mark making with this Stabilo All pencil. Yeah, you can still read it right there, Stabilo All. I have some somewhat clean paint water I'm going to dip it into because these are water reactive, water soluble. And I'm just going to make some marks. And yeah, we go. I think that's good. And then, what should we do next? And this is where I think we should wet some of that Stabilo, because otherwise the other paints that go on top are gonna pick it up more, I guess. So I'm just gonna wet, maybe I'll just wet some of it. This is all kind of a new process to me. I'm really enjoying exploring abstract art. Oh, I was thinking earlier I wanted to do something with a face on it, on this page. Okay, so we're gonna have to have a face. All right, now I have a bit of a direction. Okay, so I guess let's draw in a face. I think I need to sharpen my pencil though. Okay, here's the pencil again. And maybe I'll put the face right here because it's a bit of clear space. Face would look really nice there, but then I'm just gonna put my arm on this wet paper. So I think I'll just put one here. So to do a face, if you're just making it up out of your imagination, I find the best way, for me at least, is to draw an oval like that, and then draw a light line through half of it going vertically, and then half of it going horizontally. I don't always do this, but I noticed that my features can get kind of askew if I don't. So yeah, and then you're supposed to put a line halfway through here, and I think you're supposed to do a vertical one through here for the placement of the eyes, like that. And then so the eye would go like right here, like that, and then you'd have the space for an eye in the middle, and then another eye like that. And then you can just add in some eyebrows. I usually do mine lower down, but I guess she's gonna have higher up eyebrows. And then I just do it a little thicker at the front, or the beginning of the eyebrow. And then, okay, and then for where you put the mouth, you put a line through there. It probably should have been a bit higher up, but that's okay. I don't have to draw it right here. So anyway, for the nose, I just do that, and then I put two kind of lines on the side there, little thicker areas right there. And then around it, I draw the nostrils going up like this into the rest of the nose. And then I just kind of leave it like that, because if I paint the face, then I'll paint this part. It almost feels like the nose is too far down. I think it actually is, but that's okay. We don't have to make it perfect. This is just a sketchbook. And I like to have these lines here so that I can make sure that the same space between the eye and the nose bridge area here is the same space between these. And I get that messed up a lot, and so I end up fixing it later usually. But yeah, it's better to get it right at the beginning so that you don't have to fix it later. Or you can just do a wonky face and not care. So yeah, the nose, I feel like it's too far down. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do, because I didn't place this line equally between here and here, it's slightly off. The nose should probably be right here and right here, and then it still feels kind of long, but that's okay. And then I can get rid of that with paint later. It's no worries. And then I like to draw big lips. So I'm going to place lips right here. Now, this I suppose would be your center line of your lips, but I'm not going to follow that. And I guess I am sort of following it. A lot of this is touch and go. So then I'll add in the pupils, or not the pupils, the iris. And for this piece, I kind of like the rough look of the lines going through the face. So I'm gonna make them a little darker so they stand out more. I actually did a little series of paintings like this with watercolors on these little square watercolor cards, and they turned out really cool. You can find them on my Instagram if you look a ways back. But yeah, okay. And then we're gonna do hair. And I like to do flowing hair usually. Now the paint is kind of rough under here because of the way that I had it together, like this side touching this side before I separated them so they would dry, like without sticking together. And so they got this kind of funny texture on them, so it's kind of hard to draw on. So yeah, I'm just gonna do some flowing hair. So before I got into abstract art, I did a lot of portraits and fantasy girls and things like that. And eventually I started to get bored making those because while I could have gone more realistic in drawing them, I just didn't feel excited by it anymore. And I started noticing that I really loved abstract art by artists I was seeing on Instagram and YouTube. And so I slowly dipped my toes in and tried different techniques and experimented, and now I really love abstract art. But I definitely want to include painted portraits and stuff in my work in the future, like more detailed painted portraits that take a lot of time and stuff. But right now I just don't really have the mental bandwidth or concentration that I would need to make the kind of portraits I want to make. So I'm kind of just sticking to abstract art where I can be more expressive rather than technical. And so, yeah, okay. I hope that made sense. Okay, and I'm just gonna darken in her eyes. Yeah, there's a really textured part right here. Okay, so next I think I want to add acrylic inks. Acrylic inks right now are my favorite art material. But which color should we choose? Okay, we have blue, so we could do an orange. That would clash a lot. I think we should do a neon color. So I'm gonna go with neon red, or fluorescent red by Daler Rowney. You just gotta shake these up really, really good. And then paint tubes and these bottles are beach to open. So I use these. I think they're called pliers. And yeah, it opens things just fine. Okay, so I'm not gonna care too much about where I put it, but I don't want it all in one place. And then what I'm gonna do is take my brush right here, dip it in some water, hold it loosely like this. Well, not really loose, but hold it at the end, gripped like this, so that I'm less precise. I'm just gonna spread the color out, and it will mix with the black in places. So I find this really fun because I'm just messing with colors, line, texture, if you include the textured paint there. And right now, I'm not too worried about what the result is going to look like because I can always add and remove things later, like by covering them up with more layers of paint. That's the fun with acrylics, is that you can cover things up. And yeah, shoe, got that. Now, normally I might let this dry, but I'm trying to do this in one go. So I think now I might add some orange because it can blend in with the red and then it won't look as harsh as I was thinking if it's blended in with the red a little bit. So this is Flame Orange by Daler Rowney. Shake, 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 shake. And pliers. And then, there we go. And let's see, I think I'll put some right here. Maybe right here. Here. I also need to do a little studio update and show you all of the paintings I've been making, because I have quite a few that I haven't shared on YouTube, and I definitely should do that. But I find motivating myself to do things kind of difficult, part of my anxiety/depression issues. And so the fact that I'm sitting down making this video is pretty good for me, because I was like, I'm gonna do it today, which was yesterday, and I ended up not doing it, and I was like, okay, I have to do it today. And so I sat down and done it. Well, I'm doing it anyway. And as of this point in this process, I have no idea where this is going. And I find that exciting. All right, what should I do now? Now, I don't usually start with a base of acrylic paint. I usually start with a base of acrylic inks, and they're so watery that you can kind of can do a lot of things with them. But once you start adding the thicker paint, like the heavy body paint, then things, to me it feels like it gets a little bit more limited, because you have to wait for layers to dry and stuff. Well, you don't have to, but I tend to want to. So I'm gonna fight that, and I'm gonna maybe make some marks across here with, ooh, I have an idea. I'm gonna use this color, Teal by Golden. It's a fluid acrylic, and you have to shake these two. And then I'm gonna pour some on my palette paper. Now, I have some gloves in my cart on Amazon, the kind that only go around your fingers, because I like to use my fingers in my work a lot, and you really probably shouldn't be touching the paint with your bare skin, because, you know, there's stuff in it that's bad for you. But so I'm gonna get those gloves eventually. Okay, I'm gonna make myself get them on payday. So anyway, I love doing these long stripy marks, and I do them in slightly different angles and sizes so that they're not all the same. And I don't like how that one the texture of the paper kind of made it, I don't know how to describe that, have less paint in that area. So I'm gonna go over it because I want the full line. And I have 6. I like to do odds because that's visually usually more pleasant, but I'm gonna have to go over this orange here, and it could create mud. Let's risk it and find out. Okay, that's not too bad. And always have paper towel handy, or a cloth, and I just wipe off my finger like that, and then it's good to go for a next color if I want to do that. Okay, I'm really enjoying the colors here. It's giving me a lot of joy and fire, feels very fiery and watery, I guess, but I'm very excited by that. So now you have to decide what you're gonna do next, and that's always the part where I'm like, oh, sorry if you can hear the children in the hall, they're kind of loud, but sounds like they're having fun. So anyway, yeah, like it's always the next step. What am I going to do on the next step? And sometimes I know like it just flows really easily. And sometimes I have to sit here, think for a while, look at previous work I've made and make the decisions that way. But let's see, what am I thinking right now? Okay, I'm thinking white dots, but I feel like I have too much white on my paper right now that wouldn't really stand out. So maybe I do dots in a different color. Okay. I want to do them in this cadmium red light, but it's cadmium and I really try not to touch these with my bare skin. So I'm going to use a different red. Maybe would this pink look good? Maybe, I don't know. Actually, this pink might look really good. Okay, I'm gonna use this pink. It's Luminous Rose by Holbein. I really like Holbein's heavy body paints. They're really nice. And they're like affordable compared to some other brands that are out there. Okay, so I'm gonna do dots. Maybe in this white area, because then the prettiness of the pink will show up really well. Actually, it shows up pretty good over the blue. And I think it's just so fun to get to play with the paint with your fingers and get a little messy and loose. It's just fun. Now, I like to balance it out by having the same colors on both sides. I should have actually added some of that blue over here too, which I'll do. But I'm gonna do something a little fun and squiggly. Now what I'm doing, I'm not really sure. I'm just making marks. And I've heard that some people find it, especially new artists, find it difficult or stressful to make those marks where they don't know if it's good or not, and or if they'll do the right thing, or you know, it's a little stressful decision making. I've found the best thing to do is just make the mark and keep making marks or painting, whatever you're doing, just keep doing step by step by step. And then once you get far enough along, then that's where I tend to try to refine the piece, is later in the process. Yeah, so, because then you kind of have something to work with, right? You have like a bunch of ideas down and you can decide where you want to mute things, where you want to make things stronger, if it needs lighter colors, darker colors, more color, more mark making. Yeah, so I probably keep saying yeah, so, and really sorry about that. So anyway, there we go again. Here's the blue. It was right in front of me. So I'm gonna pour a little bit more of that out and use it on this page. I think I'm going to give her a neck with this blue. I guess it's gonna be a long neck. Maybe I'll give her some shoulders too. And that's kind of nice how those two colors blended there. And as I'm going, the acrylic ink is starting to dry, which is great, because I can go over it without creating too much mud. And now she's got a bit of a body. That's great. So, I think we're at the point where I'm going to stop for now. because this really needs to dry before I add anything else. And I think I need to take a photo of it on my phone and, you know, kind of look at it a while when I'm in different rooms and stuff, and, you know, because I carry my phone with me, don't we all? And I like to just look at it and analyze it, not in a super like mean or critical, well, in a critical way, but not in a mean what's that word? Self-defamating? No. Anyway, I can't think of the word, but not in a mean way to yourself, just seeing, okay, where are things balanced? What am I liking about certain sections? And what really needs to change? And I start to get ideas, if I stare at it long enough, of what to do next. And so the next time I sit down, I'll usually have a starting off point already brewing in my mind. And if I don't, I just sit down and make the next mark. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'd like to make more like these, but I'm not going to promise anything because motivation is hard. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next one. I'd love to make more, like I said. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.